Here's the progressive news headlines for today, October 15th, 2020. Well, Earth just experienced the hottest September on record. That's according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which says that 2020 is on pace to be one of 3 hottest years on the record books. Yeah. The announcement comes as the climate crisis fuels devastating wildfires across the western United States and melts Arctic sea ice at an alarming rate. Researchers at Yale found that 8 weather-related disasters causing $1 billion or more in damages occurred across the world in September alone, bringing the annual total to thus far to 35. There were 40 such events in both 2018 and 2019. But good news, the year isn't over. So there's still time for some record-setting horrendous events. Anyway, that's the great news I like to start out with. But the really good news is we have people fighting against this. You can help build political power to vote out these corrupt politicians and vote in real leaders and a Green New Deal at sunrisemovement.org. The youngsters are doing it. Thank goodness, because the old timers are getting tired, but we are still doing it, and they do still let us into their young people rallies, which I appreciate so much. The Sunrise Movement is supporting civil rights lawyer and union organizer Mike Siegel to oust Republican Representative Mike McCall in Texas's 10th congressional district. On Tuesday, Sunrise released an ad in support of Siegel, a vocal Green New Deal champion in Texas. Can you believe that? Pretty great. Okay, the video is narrated by a union electrician who tells the story of his own fight to convince his fellow members and the union to endorse a Green New Deal because workers need to get that message. Apparently, they're not getting it just yet. They all think they're going to lose their jobs and they should vote for Trump, who's losing their jobs anyway. Here's the video. In it, he expresses frustration with a system in which workers have carried the American dream of billionaires on their backs. Let's watch.
We are not famous, but we've worked hard to build their shining city, to build incredible infrastructure to power this country. We've carried the American dream of billionaires on our backs. We've built their America. But I've talked to my coworkers. We can see what's coming. Floods and wildfires getting worse, plants closing.
Will lose their jobs.
I look around at my union brothers and sisters, and every day I see jobs being obliterated with no backup plan for us to transition to something better. But I'm not going to let their America leave us behind. So I started organizing for a Green New Deal with my union. Conversations weren't easy, but my fellow workers understood. What use is a good job if you don't have a home to come home to? What use is a country if you can't work to better the lives of yourself and your neighbors?
Democratic congressional candidate Mike Siegel.
Welcome, Mike Siegel.
Mike Siegel.
I'm a former public school teacher, a union organizer, a civil rights lawyer.
Unions have a saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. It's no surprise our unions endorsed Mike Siegel. Michael McCall has already shown us who he works for. When the pandemic hit, he spent his time cutting deals for CEOs, not workers. Mike Siegel is our chance to have a seat at the table next year, a real accomplice in Congress. Mike knew union power before he knew air. His mother was a machinist who helped organize a strike while he was still in the womb. Any deal he'll make will start with us. This election is about sending one of our own, to bring our vision of a Green New Deal to Congress, and to bring back good union jobs so we can build a more stable future for ourselves and our loved ones. We are here at the exact right moment to build our America. They may not know our names, but they will know our power.
Pretty great, I would say. Okay, and in other don't mess with Texas news, Texas State Appeals Court Wednesday threw out a last-minute lawsuit filed by the Texas Republican Party, which hoped to challenge the country's efforts to provide more voting options during the coronavirus pandemic. The state GOP had filed a lawsuit on Monday asking the court to place limits on curbside voting. This is what we're seeing, curbside voting. It's like a drive-in. I love it. The appellate judges said that the party filed the suit too late and did not show how they specifically might be injured by voting practices. The lawsuit was filed just hours before early voting polls opened and more than a month after the Harris County clerk announced his plan for drive-thru voting. Pretty great. Pretty great. We won one in Texas. And by we, I mean people who care about justice. Early voting, voters are bravely, don't wait is what the issue is here. Don't wait. Voters are bravely standing in incredibly long lines and having to face other voter suppression efforts to cast their votes in person. And the biggest motivation for this appears to be the Democrats' eagerness to vote. And we got to get that guy out. So far, Trump, much of the early voting appears to be driven by heightened enthusiasm among Democrats. Of the roughly 3.5 million voters who have cast ballots in 6 states that provide partisan breakdowns, registered Democrats outnumber Republicans by roughly 2-1, according to Washington Post's analysis of the data in Florida, Iowa, Maine, and Kentucky, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Additionally, those who have voted include disproportionate numbers of Black voters and women, groups that favor former Vice President Joe Biden over President Trump in recent polls. No wonder the Republicans want to take the voting down. They're going to lose. Let's hope. Greg Palast joins us in a few minutes to discuss voter disenfranchisement and maybe some scary stuff that's on the horizon that we might want to be, keeping our eyes out for. So if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to check out that Greg Palast video, which will be separate from this one. An estimated 5.2 million Americans will be disenfranchised and unable to vote in the 2020 elections. That's according to a study released Wednesday by the Sentencing Project. According to that new report titled Locked Out 2020, 1 out of every 44 U.S. adults is disenfranchised due to a current or previous felony conviction. The rate of disenfranchisement is higher in the southern states, the analysis found, where ballot restrictions enacted during Jim Crow in order to prevent Black men from voting and holding office are still in effect. And there's no systematic racism in our world. Okay, you can take action against voter disenfranchisement at sentencingproject.org. Again, it's sentencingproject.org. All right. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. And thanks to all the 40,000 subscribers plus that we've gotten over the last couple of months. We really appreciate that. We are launching this project on YouTube. And if you're watching, you'll see we have other shows. Solidarity Now. We have the interview series that we do here from Waking Up. We've got the Black Power Magic Hour with Messiah, who is actually behind the scenes producing this show right now. So share. We're not even asking for money, and I do apologize for all the ads we have to run. But the fact is, if you want to get ahead on YouTube, you have to let them run the ads in the middle of your show. Otherwise, they kind of ignore you and don't use the algorithm to get you out into the YouTube ethers. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to maybe stop doing that. I don't know. But for now, thank you for sitting through it. We appreciate it. I'm Julianna Forlano. You can find me on the Twitters at Julianna Forlano. Pretty sure I'm the only one on there. All right.